She'd served him coffee every Tuesday for 3 years, and never once looked at his wrist. He'd sat in the same corner booth of a diner he could have bought outright, and never once told her his name. Neither of them knew they'd made a promise to each other 20 years ago, on a fire escape, the night her father was arrested and his mother put him on a plane. The bracelet gave it away, not his suit, not his car waiting outside. A cheap braided string bracelet, grey with age, still knotted around his wrist, the way she'd tied it the last night they ever saw each other as kids. Mara didn't recognize CEOs. She recognized regulars. Table 6, black coffee, no cream, always alone, always polite, always gone before the lunch rush. She'd worked the counter at Ruth's Diner for 6 years, ever since her father got out and needed someone to co-sign the lease. She wasn't looking for anything from Table 6 except a decent tip. The man at Table 6 was Julian Cole, sole owner of Cole Dynamics, worth more than the entire block Ruth's Diner sat on. He came because it was the only place in the city where nobody asked him anything. Then, on an ordinary Tuesday, she reached across to refill his cup, and her sleeve rode up. A bracelet, braided string, sun-faded, the exact pattern her grandmother used to teach neighborhood kids on the fire escape of a building that didn't exist anymore. Julian saw it and went still. "Where'd you get that?" he said. Not a question. A demand dressed as one. "My best friend gave it to me, before he moved. I never took it off." She said it like it didn't matter anymore, because for 20 years it hadn't had to. He rolled up his own sleeve. Same pattern, same fade. "Jules?" she said, and the name came out smaller than she meant it to, like it belonged to someone she used to be braver for. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he asked for the check, left cash on the table, and didn't come back the next Tuesday, or the one after that. Mara told herself it was nothing, a coincidence, a stranger with a similar bracelet, a man who'd simply found a new coffee shop. She almost believed it, until a courier showed up at the diner with an envelope addressed to her, no return name, just her father's old apartment number, written on the front, like a password only one person alive would remember. Inside was a photograph, 2 kids on a fire escape, 7 years old, tying string around each other's wrists, promising to find each other again someday. On the back, in handwriting she hadn't seen since she was a child, "I looked for you for a long time. I stopped believing I'd find you at a coffee counter." She found him 2 weeks later, not hard, once she let herself Google the name on his employee badge that one of the diner regulars mentioned in passing. Cole Dynamics headquarters, 40 floors up, more security than a courthouse. He came down to meet her in the lobby himself. No assistant, no entourage, just Julian, in the same kind of quiet he'd worn at Table 6, except now, the quiet looked like fear instead of habit. "You could have just told me," she said. "That Tuesday, you could have just said my name." "I didn't know how to be the kid on the fire escape and the man in that building at the same time," he said. "I've spent 20 years being one or the other, never both in the same room. So which one is this?" He didn't answer with words. He undid the bracelet on his wrist and held it out to her, not as a gift, as a return, as if he'd been carrying it for her the whole time and only just realized he could finally give it back. She didn't take it, not yet. "I'm not angry you're rich," she said. "I'm angry you sat across from me for 3 years and let me think I imagined you." "I know. That's not an apology." "No," he admitted. "It's not. I don't think I get to apologize my way out of 3 years. I think I just get to start showing up as both of us and see if you still want either one." She thought about her father, about the lease, about 6 years of counting tips at Ruth's Diner and telling herself that was simply her life now. And she thought about a fire escape and a promise made by 2 kids who had no idea what either of their lives would turn into. She took the bracelet, didn't put it on, just held it. The way you hold something you're still deciding whether to trust again. Table 6, she said. Same time next Tuesday. You buy your own coffee like a person this time. It wasn't a yes to everything, but it was a yes to Tuesday. He came. He paid full price for a $2 coffee and left the biggest tip Ruth's diner had ever seen scrawled on a napkin instead of a receipt. Some promises just take longer to keep than others. Subscribe if you believe some connections survive 20 years without a single conversation. What do you think? Should Mara have taken the bracelet back that first day, or made him earn it? Tell me in the comments. New story every week.